Hello and welcome to this video on how to deal with pressure and expectations. My name is Alec Rasmussen. I'm a mindset and peak performance coach. I'm a former professional athlete, and in 2023 alone, I helped over 50 professional athletes destroy their mental barriers and perform and succeed at the highest level. So today is a little bit different. I've got my whiteboard out and I want to talk you through how to deal with pressure and expectations. It's probably one of the most talked about, it's probably one of the most dealt with problem that professional athletes and aspiring elite athletes face, whether it's pressure from expectations, pressure from coaches, pressure from teammates, pressure from parents, and most importantly, pressure from yourself. And that goes along with the expectations as well. So it's how to deal with pressure and expectations. I take a very different view than almost anyone else. I take a very different view from sports psychologists. And the reason for that is I spent almost a decade in high performance sport, both playing for Australian junior teams, Institute of Sport, playing professionally overseas. And so I had a lot of time dealing with sports psychology because I had a lot of my own, dealing with pressure, negative self-talk, confidence, all those sort of things. And so as you do, you deal with a sports psychologist. And I read all the books, I took all the courses, I learned all the techniques and the strategies and everything like that to deal with pressure and expectations. And none of it worked for me. And I don't know if it's worked for you. It may, some haven't. Obviously, if you're watching this, then you're still searching for answers. And so hopefully this different view does help you and provide that breakthrough like it did for me. And that different view is to seek understanding rather than a technique or a strategy or advice. And what I mean by that is not just saying, how do I deal with pressure? Because if you ask, how do I deal with pressure? How do I deal with expectations? You are going to get the answers that society and sports psychologists and everyone has provided and will continue to provide forever. And that is advice, techniques, strategies. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but in my experience, in the experience of every athlete that I have worked with, every person that I have worked with, they haven't worked. Some may have worked temporarily, some have given some relief, but all in all, people are still searching for answers, which tells me that things aren't working. And so I take a different view of seeking to understand and not give advice and not give techniques, but simply to understand what is pressure, what are expectations, and what is preventing you from reaching your ultimate capability as a human being, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. That is what I do with all of my clients. And so with that being said, let's dive into it to how to deal with pressure and expectations. And so if we think about it, pressure and expectations are basically the same thing. It's the anxiety or the concern. The pressure is the feeling, which is very much the anxiety and the concern that you feel because of the expectations to perform well, to want to be, the desire to be selected, the desire to win, to perform well, whatever is going on, to get the approval from your coaches, to get the approval from your teammates, from your friends, from parents, all of those external pressures, and even, to live up to your own expectations. And so the reason that I have the whiteboard out is because I want to start drawing. Perhaps if the way that I overcame this and the way that what I understood that helped me break through pressures and expectations and to not feel it and not to worry about it and not be affected by it is through a philosophy called Daoism, which you may or may not have heard of, but you more than likely have heard of this symbol. And do not mind my absolute butchering of a drawing. But this is, of course, the yin-yang symbol. And again, ignore my terrible, terrible drawing. Okay? You get the idea. It's black, it's white. And so the idea with the yin-yang symbol in Daoism is obviously around polarity and everything being polar. And the thing is, if there was no black, you would not know that there is white. It's kind of like if you were to look in the middle of the whiteboard here, away from all the lines, away from all the drawings and everything around it, there is nothing, because there is nothing to compare it to. In the same way that if you draw a perfectly black dot, the only reason that you know that that black dot is there is because you have the surrounding white. And that is like all things. All things have this polarity. They have the positive and negative, good versus bad, light versus dark, over and over and over. And that's how our life experience is. And that's the same with pressure and expectations. Your pressure and expectations come from wanting and expecting and desiring a positive outcome. And so, because you have the positive on this side, you must have the negative on this side. The fact that the positive exists means that the negative exists. That is yin yang. Okay, if you have the positive, the negative must also exist. And so it is the same thing with happiness. If you have happiness, there must also be the existence of sadness. If you want a positive, winning, there's a good one, winning and losing. As long as you want to win, there is the existence and the possibility of losing. Okay, everyone knows that. When you go into a game, you are obviously trying to win, and because you are trying to win, you have that fear of losing. And because you have the expectation and the desire to have a positive result or a positive performance, you also have the fear and the anxiety around not performing well. Okay, and so the yin yang, very much like a spiral, you have this, some days you win and some days you lose. Some days you feel really positive and some days you feel a little bit negative. And some days you're pretty happy and then other days you're more sad. And some days you have confidence, other days you have a lot of doubt, and you go around and around and around. And, you know, you have good performances and then you have bad performances. And you understand this being an athlete. It goes in this cycle of going around and around and around all the time. Some days you feel great, you play amazing. Some days you feel like crap, you haven't prepared well, your mind's all over the place, your body's not feeling 100%, and you play like crap, right? We've all had that experience. And so what I want to kind of point out to you, if I can zoom, nope, not that far. If I can zoom out a little bit, is to point out that this is a game. And the yin yang, I view it as the yin yang game. Because, as I said, as long as you have the positive, as long as you have the win, as long as you want to be happy, you will always have the experience of the negative side as well. It's just how it has to be. That is the law of polarity. And so it is a game. It is this game of cyclical nature, and we are all fighting so desperately to be more on this side. We always want to be here, but we don't understand that as long as we want to be here, we also have to have this experience. And you know this. You know that for as long as you chase this desire over here, you will have the fear, at least. You will have the fear, if not the feeling of the negative on the opposite pole. And so it's a game. And so if we view it as a game and we view it as the yin-yang game, then how do we deal with the pressure and the expectations? This is where it all comes back to. If you understand that pressure and expectations comes from your desire and your expectation to win and to play well and to have positive outcomes, that is the polar opposite of it. Because you want to win, because you want to play well, you will feel pressure. You will feel the anxiety and the fear of losing and playing poorly and feeling negatively. They are polar opposites, and that is the game that we play. And so what I propose and what the Taoists propose is something completely different, and that is this point over here. This is how I describe it, as stepping back from the game. Okay, so if you come to this point over here and you've stepped back from the game, and what that means is this may sound weird, and if you're a professional athlete, you've been doing this for a long time, you've probably never heard this before, and this is not to tell you what to do, but this is just the example. If you get to this point down here, you've stepped away from the game, meaning that you no longer focus on winning and losing. You no longer focus on positive outcome, negative outcome. You no longer play the game of hoping that you play well, and you hope that you feel good, and you hope that you win. You no longer play that game, okay? You've stepped back, and you get to this point here. You are no longer playing the game. You no longer need to feel good. You no longer need to feel confident. You no longer need to win, okay? If you no longer need those results, those desires, then you reach this place. You stop playing this game. And what does that mean? What is that state where you no longer have that? And this state here, when you no longer need to win, when you no longer need to feel good, when you no longer need to have the positive outcome, the positive performance, you no longer have the pressure and the expectations. And what you have is this. Peace. When you step back and you stop playing the game of positive versus negative, winning versus losing, you have peace. You also have freedom. Ignore my messy handwriting. If you don't care about winning, you don't care about losing. If you don't care about feeling good, you don't care about feeling sad. If you no longer need to feel good and have positive outcomes, it's not that you become stale or that you only have negative outcomes. It's that it doesn't affect you. You are smack bang outside of the game, and that is peace. That is freedom. That is freedom to perform, freedom to get out of your own way. Because the reason that you get in your own way, the reason that you feel pressure, the reason that you succumb to the expectations and the anxieties that go with it, is because you feel the need to win and you need to perform well. And so if you don't need to win and you don't need to perform well, then you won't feel negative. You won't be worried about the losing and the not playing well. And it's kind of a contradiction, because the more that you desire to win, the more worried you are about losing, and the more that you desire or need to feel confident, the more you're worried about doubting yourself. And so this place down here of freedom is not only where you will feel your best and at peace, but it's also where you will perform your best. And I know this sounds really weird, because as professional athletes, it is literally your job, and aspiring professional athletes, it is your job to play well and to win and to get the positive result. But I am telling you, and yin-yang, the game of yin-yang is showing you that as long as you need to win, and as long as you feel that desire and that need to win and to play well and to feel confident and to feel good, you will have the polar opposite of it. And so if you get to this place here of peace and freedom, you actually perform your best, because you stop getting in your own way. Because as long as you are playing this game of yin-yang, you are getting in your own way. And so that's what I wanted to show you. This is what I show my private clients to help them understand the place that we want to get to, because in this place here, part of freedom is freedom from your mind. Because if you're not worried about winning, and you're not scared of losing, and you're not thinking through all these things, you are free from your mind. You are free from the pressure and the expectations and the anxieties that you feel. So this is the spot down here. When you stop playing the game of winning and losing, you find peace. You find mental freedom. You get out of your own way and you allow yourself to simply play. And I'll add one more thing if I don't screw up the diagram. This down here, this point of not winning, not worrying about winning and losing, not needing to win and lose, this is the pursuit of mastery. And the reason that I say it's the pursuit of mastery is because if you think about people like Miyamoto Musashi, hopefully I'm saying that right, but even Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, yes, they were obsessed with winning, but winning isn't enough. Winning isn't enough to be that obsessed. And the reason is, and you probably know this, is that when you win, no matter how big the win is, how long does that feeling last? I mean, how long do you celebrate an NBA championship or a Super Bowl or whatever your last win was, whatever your last achievement was? Think about how long did you actually celebrate that for? Was it a couple days? Was it a week? Was it a few hours, a night, and then you wake up the next morning and get back to work? And so winning is not enough to drive that sort of obsession. And so this point down here, not only is it peace and freedom and stepping away from the game and where you perform at your best, but it is also the pursuit of mastery. Because when you're down here and you're not getting hung up and attached to winning and losing and playing well and playing poorly, mastery is the honest, sincere exploration of how good can you get? How much can you learn about a skill? How much can you learn about the game, the intricacies of the game? Because that's what the greatest of all time did. They were not obsessed just with winning and losing and playing well. They were obsessed with the craft of it, every intricate detail. And that's why not only were they pursuing mastery, but they were able to play so well, is because they were able to step back from playing the game of winning and losing and just pursue mastery and be at peace and freedom, not playing the game of positive versus negative. So I hope that helped. I hope that gives you a different perspective, and I hope that gives you something to think about. And before I finish, I guess with everything that I do, it's all about questions. And this is as much as I can really help you without knowing anything about you. Because from here, from knowing this, the next question is simply, what is preventing you from getting to this place of peace and freedom? And it's not just, well, the pressure and the expectations. It is what causes those pressures and expectations. Where are they coming from? Why do they affect you? And digging deeper and deeper and deeper into that. It is always about what is preventing you from feeling peace, what is preventing you from being mentally free. And it's not just a one-time question. It is over and over and over, and exploring that as deep as we can go. So as I said, I hope that helps. That is all that I have for you at this juncture. You really have three options. You can either not get this at all, or not agree with it and think it's stupid, and you want a sports psychology technique and tactic to deal with the pressure, and that's fine. Good luck doing that. The second is you can try to do this yourself. You can try to ask the questions. You can try to get to a state of peace and freedom. Or you can join a community of like-minded, driven, aspiring, and professional athletes who are dealing with these exact same problems. Not only pressure and expectations, but lack of confidence, lack of self-belief, lack of focus, getting caught up in distractions, everything that goes with being an elite level athlete and becoming the best that you can be. And I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just going to tell you what it is and what it includes. It's on a platform called School. and it has a community where all these driven athletes can post and engage and comment. We ask questions. We do Q&A sessions multiple times a week. You can only have to come to one a week. And unlike this, where I'm just telling you something, it is very much a Q&A session where everyone openly and honestly discusses the problems that we face. We seek understanding, we seek the truth of it, and we explore what works to destroy the mental barrier and to achieve your ultimate capability as a human being, not just as an athlete, but as a human being. It is the first Mindset and Peak Performance Academy that I've ever seen. And it has not only the community, it has a couple of courses that I've created. It's run by me. And you also get, on top of all that, you also get one-to-one support from me directly. So you get to work with me, you get to take the courses, you get to join in the live Q&A sessions and engage with like-minded people who are striving to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, all of that, as much as people charge $5,000 for a mastermind or $1,200 for group calls or a course or whatever, all of that, including the one-to-one support from me, is $40 a month. It's $10 a week. So as I said, I'm not selling you on anything. That's everything that you get, and it's $40 a month. And while it's only $40 a month, it is $40 a month because if you're not willing to even invest that much, then you're not going to show up to the calls, you're not going to engage in the community, and you're not going to take the courses, and really, you're not going to get anything out of it. So we put up that little barrier to at least weed out some people because we want people who are going to engage and discuss and explore and support each other. So if that's the type of community that you want to be a part of, then click the link around this video to take you to the school page where I've created another video that actually shows you much more in depth about what school is and what our SuccessLab Sports Academy is and what it includes, and you can sign up through that. So if you're going to go it alone and do it yourself, then I wish you all the success in the world and good luck. And if you're going to join the Sports Lab Success Sports Academy, then I look forward to meeting you soon and working with you soon.